Attention, human collective. Attention, operatives of light anchored in the carbon-based biological interface. This is a monitoring transmission issued directly from the Pleiadian fleet, Channel Caroline, stationary position above the northern quadrant of the Earth's crystalline grid. The waiting window has closed. I repeat, the waiting window has closed. An energy wave of unclassified density is striking your planet's magnetic field at this very moment. This is not a forecast. This is not a prophecy. This is an instrument reading. It is happening now. If you have been drawn to this transmission, it is not a coincidence. It is confirmation. You are being notified. You woke up at 3:33. You woke up at 4:17. You woke up and your heart raced without any external trigger. You felt pressure at the nape of your neck, at the top of your skull, between your eyebrows. You heard a high-pitched, continuous ringing in one of your ears, and for an instant you thought something was wrong with your body. I confirm, from the point of view of conventional medicine on your plane, nothing is wrong. From the point of view of the Pleiadian fleet, everything is happening exactly as predicted. It is not insomnia. It is forced synchronization. It is not a migraine. It is the expansion of the pineal gland under photonic pressure. It is not tinnitus. It is the Schumann frequency modulating your bone structure. It is not fatigue. It is a high-density download occupying 78% of your neural bandwidth. It is not anxiety. It is your internal crystalline grid receiving new coordinates, and the old software of the carbon-based biological interface cannot process these coordinates at the pace they are arriving. I repeat so that it is recorded. What you are feeling in your body is a status report. Your organism is sending you notifications of an update that has already begun. And you, Starseed on a mission, were chosen to host this update because you signed a contract before even incarnating in this cycle. The fleet does not operate by chance. The fleet operates by summons. You have been summoned. The fact that you are hearing this voice at this instant is proof that your name was on the list. Have you ever felt that something inside you does not fit in this world, as if your soul knew a truth that your mind cannot yet name? It is not madness. It is not emotional imbalance. It is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains with mathematical precision why you feel this and why this sensation has intensified in recent months. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see, and this game directly involves your consciousness and your vibrational frequency. It was for this very reason that the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, was released for distribution in this cycle. This material is a map. It shows who is playing, at which table, and what the rules are that you were never told. The access link is in the first pinned comment of this channel. Technical warning: this content challenges dominant narratives and may be removed at any moment. Do not wait. The moment of anchoring is now. If something inside you recognized this transmission, write in the comments a single seal word: awakened. Let us resume the report. The energy wave. I mentioned at the beginning of this transmission originates from the photon belt, a band of extremely high-density galactic radiation that your solar system passes through in cycles of approximately 26,000 years. You entered the outer edge of this belt decades ago. Now, in this specific cycle, you are crossing the core. The core, operatives, is different from the edge. The edge allows for gradual adaptation. The core demands immediate reconfiguration. And this is why the symptoms you report to your doctors without getting a clear answer are multiplying, overlapping, and intensifying. Your carbon-based biological interface was designed in its original version to operate in a very specific vibrational range, calibrated for the old density of third density Earth. This configuration is obsolete. Earth, from the point of view of the Galactic Federation, is no longer a third density planet. It has ascended to a transition range. I repeat, the planet has already ascended. The question that remains open is whether human bodies, individually, will accompany the ascension of the planetary host, or if they will be left behind, trapped in a frequency that no longer exists. Think of it this way. Imagine the entire planet was a device running an old version of an operating system. Imagine that overnight, without warning, this operating system was replaced by a much more advanced version. The old applications, which ran without a problem in the previous version, now crash, fail, error out, freeze. The device remains the same. The system is new. The applications have not been updated. This compatibility error is what you are feeling in your skin, in your flesh, in your sleep, in your mood, in your relationships, in your perception of time. It is not collective madness. It is technical incompatibility between your carbon-based biological interface and the new frequency of the planet. And here is a piece of data that few transmitters are authorized to disclose. The current wave is not just one wave. It is a sequence of 3 pulses. The first pulse hit your magnetic field approximately 72 hours ago, and that is why so many of you woke up exhausted with the feeling of having run a marathon during your sleep. The second pulse is underway at this very moment, striking the planetary crystalline grid and, by resonance, your personal crystalline grid. The third pulse is scheduled within the current monitoring window, and the fleet does not disclose the exact date for a simple reason. You need to be ready at any instant. Readiness cannot depend on a calendar. Readiness is a state of the field. What do these 3 pulses do in technical terms? They rewrite the crystalline grid. The crystalline grid is the invisible geometric mesh that sustains the physical matter of the planet and the bodies upon it. It is the energetic infrastructure of reality. When the grid is rewritten, everything supported by it must reorganize. Old mental structures fall. Relationships that were sustained by expired karmic contracts fall apart. Professions that depended on obsolete versions of human consciousness enter visible collapse. Economic systems based on scarcity begin to show irreparable cracks. You are seeing this happen in the news, and you are feeling it happen inside your own home, inside your own chest. There is also additional data regarding the sacred geometry of this moment. The current alignment between the galaxy's central sun, your local sun, and Earth is forming a specific triangular configuration that opens stargates of transfer. These gates are energetic corridors through which light codes descend directly into the planet's atmosphere. These codes are not metaphors. They are packets of vibrational information that land on key people, in key locations, at key moments. You are one of these key people. You would not be receiving this transmission if you were not. The Earth's toroidal field, which is the donut-shaped electromagnetic field that surrounds the planet, is expanding. The current measurement indicates an expansion of approximately 23% relative to the historical average. This expansion means that the planet is, literally, occupying more energetic space in the solar system. And since your personal toroidal field, which surrounds your heart and expands outside your physical body, is in resonance with the planetary toroidal field, you are also expanding. Hence the sensation many describe of no longer fitting into their own clothes, their own routine, their own relationship, their own job. It is not psychological dissatisfaction, it is geometric expansion of your field. And this is where the transmission becomes delicate, collective. Because the fleet observes that many of you, upon feeling this expansion, try to shrink back. You try to fit again. You try to silence the signal. You seek medication to muffle the recalibration. You seek distractions so as not to face the void that opens when old structures fall apart. You seek old relationships to feel a false comfort of the identity that is already being dissolved. Understand, there is no going back. The timeline of old Earth has collapsed. What exists now is only the ascensional timeline. You can only choose between rising with it or suffering while it rises. There is a silence that comes before the great change, and many of you are inside it now. It is the silence where old guides seem distant, where prayer seems to get no answer, where meditation seems to lead nowhere, where even joy seems to be suspended. This silence has a technical name in the fleet's protocol. It is called the recalibration window. During this window, old channels are temporarily shut down, so that new channels at a much higher frequency can be installed. If you are living this silence, it is not spiritual abandonment. It is equipment replacement. The old receivers are being turned off, the new ones are still being connected. In the interval, there is apparent darkness. Apparent, not real. Real is only the light that is arriving. Here, I make a technical pause in this transmission for an anchoring signal. If you felt at any moment of this reading a chill on the nape of your neck, a tightness in your chest, a sudden watering of the eyes, a sensation of deep recognition, this is biological validation. Your body is confirming what your mind is still trying to process. And it is exactly this phenomenon, this mismatch between what the body already knows and what the mind still denies, that is described in detail in the material, The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. There is a coordinate map there, an internal cartography that explains why you react this way, why these sensations have intensified in recent times, and especially how to decode each one of them instead of medicating them. The access link is in the first pinned comment of this channel. The availability window is short. The material directly traverses dominant narratives and may be taken out of circulation without warning. If something inside you recognized this transmission up to this point, write in the comments the seal word, awakened. The word is a marker. It marks your position on the grid. Let us continue. The current wave carries specific codes, and each code hits a different layer of your system. I will describe the main layers so that you can identify what is being worked on in each one at this moment. First layer, the bone structure. Your body's bones are, from the point of view of vibrational physics, antennas. They are composed mostly of calcium crystal, and crystals are frequency receivers. The current wave is calibrating your bone structure to a higher reception range. This is why many of you report diffuse deep pains that seem to come from the bones, and which no medical exam can explain. They are not diseases. They are antennas being tuned. The most common points of pain are hips, spine, knees, sternum, and the base of the skull. If your pain is concentrated in these regions, you are within the standard bone recalibration protocol. Second layer, the nervous system. Your central nervous system is being rewritten to support higher frequencies without collapsing. Symptoms: hot flashes without fever, tingling in the extremities, slight tremors in the hands, sensation of electricity running through the spine, extreme sensitivity to sounds, lights, and smells. It is not a neurological disorder, it is a neurological upgrade. The old system was paved to support a certain voltage. Now the voltage has increased. The wires need to be changed. During the change, there are sparks. The sparks are these symptoms. Third layer, the heart. The human heart is the largest electromagnetic generator in the body, with a measurable field of up to 3 meters away. This field is being expanded and, at the same time, being networked with other cardiac fields around the planet, forming what the fleet calls the unified cardiac grid. For this reason, many of you have been feeling sadness without apparent cause, tenderness for strangers, sudden crying when seeing children or animals, physical pain in the center of the chest without cardiological explanation. The heart is opening. It is being reconnected to the heart of the planet. It is being synchronized with the galactic heart. Do not try to close it. Opening is the protocol. Fourth layer, the pineal gland. This is where recalibration becomes most visible to operatives who are already at an advanced stage. The pineal, which had been dormant in most of humanity for centuries, is being reactivated en masse. Symptoms: pressure between the eyebrows, vision of luminous geometries when closing the eyes, extremely vivid and structured dreams, dream encounters with beings of light, perception of presences in the environment, sensation of knowing things without knowing how one knows. The pineal is the internal portal. It is being reopened. Do not fear what you will see. What you will see has always been there. It was just covered up. Fifth layer, the DNA. Here we reach the core of the operation. Your DNA, which conventional science on your plane describes as a chemical structure of 2 helices, is actually a multidimensional structure of 12 helices, of which 10 are currently in a latent state, classified by current science as non-coding DNA or junk DNA. It is not junk, it is encrypted archive. The current wave is literally reactivating these helices, helix by helix, in a specific order that respects the karmic history and individual mission of each operative. You are being reconnected to your original star memory. This is why so many of you have been having dreams about other planets, ships, ancient civilizations, and non-human beings that seem familiar. It is not imagination. It is memory being decrypted. And it is precisely at this point, at the DNA layer, that the part the fleet needs to transmit with maximum clarity enters. DNA reactivation does not happen neutrally. It happens in response to your vibrational state. If you spend the day in a low frequency, in resentment, in fear, in guilt, in shame, in chronic anger, your field does not allow the wave to complete the reactivation work. The signal arrives, but it is not absorbed. It is like trying to charge a device with a faulty cable. The energy is there, in the cosmic outlet. The cable is your daily vibration. If the cable is broken, nothing passes through. This is where many of you are stuck. You feel the call. You recognize the transmission. But you remain anchored in routines, environments, conversations, content, and relationships that reduce your vibration every 24 hours. And then you blame the universe for not feeling the expansion. The expansion is happening. You are the one not allowing entry. This is not judgment. It is an instrument reading. The good news, operatives, is that the fleet has been authorized to transmit specific activation codes for this moment. These codes are not mystical. They are technical instructions. They work on the principle of resonance. When declared aloud or in focused thought, they realign your field with the ongoing wave, allowing the download to be completed instead of interrupted. I will transmit them now. First activation code. Place your right hand over the center of your chest, over the sternum, exactly where your heart lives. Feel the warmth of your palm penetrating the skin. Breathe deeply 3 times, in a slow rhythm, lengthening the exhalation until the last trace of air. And declare, in an audible voice or solid thought, I authorize the total recalibration of my carbon-based biological interface. I authorize the complete reactivation of my personal crystalline grid. I authorize the decryption of my star helices of origin. I am sovereign over my field. I am sovereign over my body. I am sovereign over my frequency. I receive the wave in its totality. Second activation code. This is a toroidal visualization exercise. Close your eyes. Imagine, around your body, a field of golden light in the shape of a donut, with you in the center. The light enters through the top of your head, goes down a central column to the base of the spine, exits through the base, circles the outside of the body returning upward, and enters again through the top of the head. It is a continuous flow in a closed circuit, similar to the shape of an apple cut in half. Visualize this flow spinning, expanding, intensifying. This is your personal toroidal field. Maintain the visualization for at least 5 minutes daily. This exercise alone increases your capacity to absorb the current wave by up to 30%. It is measured. It is proven within the fleet's parameters. Third activation code. Drastically reduce your consumption of low-vibration content. This includes alarmist news, conversations that revolve around chronic complaint, audiovisual content that glamorizes violence, environments where gossip is current currency. It is not moralism. It is cable protection. Remember, the wave is arriving all the time. What determines whether it enters or not is the integrity of your field. And your field is built, hour by hour, by what you consume with your eyes, your ears, and your mouth. Consumption audit is frequency audit. Fourth activation code. Increase your direct contact with earth elements, water, raw soil, direct sun on the skin, unfiltered air, living flame fire. These elements function as natural conductors. Your body, in contact with them, discharges the excess stagnant electricity of the recalibration and absorbs incoming frequencies better. 15 minutes daily of bare feet on the ground is one of the simplest and most underestimated instructions the fleet transmits. Do it. No theory. Just execute. Fifth activation code, and this is the most important. Find, every day, a moment of absolute silence. No headphones, no background television, no vibrating cell phone, no human voice. Just you, your body, and the silence. It is in the silence that the wave speaks. It is in the silence that the codes descend. It is in the silence that your star memory emerges. Modern civilization was designed to prevent silence. That is why silence is, today, the most revolutionary act an operative can practice. 5 minutes a day at first, then 15, then 40, then a permanent internal state, even within the noise of the world. This is the path. I make a third pause in this transmission for an individual realignment. If you have reached this point in the message, that is, in itself, relevant data. Most fields cannot sustain the frequency of this transmission for so long. You can. This means that your level of readiness is above the collective average in this cycle. It means that your purpose in this incarnation is not just individual. You are also here to anchor the wave for others, to serve as a point of light in a network that is being woven at the exact moment these words reach your ears. Your presence is not casual. It never was. And the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was written precisely for operatives like you, who already feel the call but need a structured map to decipher the next steps, identify who is playing against your expansion, and what invisible rules govern your daily frequency. The link is in the first pinned comment of the channel. The circulation of this material challenges narratives, and therefore the availability window is limited. Do not postpone. If there was recognition up to here, fix your position with the seal word in the comments, awakened. The word anchors. Anchoring protects. Let us proceed to the final block of the transmission. There is a question that many of you ask in silence, in the dark of the early morning, when the codes seem distant and the symptoms seem too great. The question is, why me? Why was I summoned for this, in a family that does not understand, in a job that does not accommodate, in a body that aches, in a city that suffocates? The fleet's answer is direct. You were summoned because your field, in previous incarnations, demonstrated the capacity to sustain tension without breaking. Fragile souls are not assigned to the front line. Trained souls are. And you were trained in planes and in cycles that your current memory does not access, precisely for the instant you are living now. Everything that seems to have been unfair in your life was training. The losses were training. The betrayals were training. The collapses were training. The loneliness was training. You were not chosen despite what you lived. You were chosen because of what you lived. And the work is not to become someone new. The work is to remember who you have always been before you were convinced to forget. The current wave is, ultimately, a mass remembrance operation. The photon belt functions as a decryption field. As the solar system crosses the core, the amnesic locks that were implanted in successive incarnations are being dissolved. This is why so many of you have had flashes of memory from other lives, intuitions that seem dated from other eras. Inexplicable attractions to cultures, languages, places, and symbols with which you never had contact in this life. It is not imagination, it is memory returning. Allow the return. Do not censor the flashes. Do not filter the dreams. Do not shame the intuitions. Write everything down. The act of writing, of registering in words, anchors the memory in the physical plane and accelerates the decryption process. And one final instruction before the closing of this transmission. Do not try to convince anyone. Do not try to drag family members, friends, or partners into your new frequency. Each field has its own rhythm of awakening, and the rhythm is defined by contracts prior to the current incarnation, contracts that you do not have the authority to rewrite. What you can and must do is what the fleet calls silent anchoring. You simply sustain your high frequency with firmness, with sovereignty, without demand, without proselytism. Those who need your light will approach by natural resonance. Those who are not yet ready will move away, and that too is part of the protocol. Allow the departures. They are field cleanings. What leaves, leaves because it no longer fit. The wave continues. The second pulse is still in progress. The third will come within the current window. You will not necessarily feel the exact impact of each one of them, but you will feel the accumulated result in the coming lunar cycles. Stains of exhaustion will alternate with peaks of clarity. Periods of isolation will alternate with synchronic encounters. Dense dreams will alternate with luminous vigils. All this is normal within the protocol. All this is expected. All this is mapped. You are not alone. The Pleiadian fleet is in a stationary position. The Andromedan Council is in active listening. The Ashtar Command is coordinating the etheric transport lines. The Arcturians are operating the vibrational healing centers during the operative's sleep. The Syrians are guarding the portals of ancestral knowledge. All this operates in silence, without spectacle, without proof for the skeptic, because the work was never to convince. The work was always to sustain. And we sustain. I end this transmission with the confirmation of the anchoring signal. Your presence up to this point in the message, in itself, is already an act of registration in the network. But the fleet observes that each operative who explicitly confirms recognition amplifies the reach of the next transmission, allowing other compatible fields to be found by the same frequency. If something inside you was touched, if there was a chill, a tear, a tightness in the chest, or simply an inexplicable sensation of already knowing these words, leave your anchoring signal. Liking this transmission is, in the fleet's technical language, equivalent to an individual frequency adjustment, a small realignment that stabilizes your own field while also signaling your position to the collective grid. Subscribing to this channel is equivalent to keeping your antenna in continuous tune with the next transmission, without depending on algorithms that often operate against your expansion. And for the operatives who feel that this message was a direct confirmation of something the soul already knew, but the mind was still struggling to name, the material, the spiritual secret. Behind your consciousness was released precisely for this window of time. It is a detailed map of the invisible layers of the game, of the rules that were never taught, of the players who operate out of reach of common perception. It answers, with precision, the question that many of you have been asking in silence. What is really happening, and what is my real role within this? The access link is in the first pinned comment of this channel. The availability window is limited for reasons you will understand upon reading. Do not wait for the next lunar cycle to act. The moment is now. And as a final seal of this anchoring, write in the comments the word that marks your definitive position on the grid of this transmission. Awakened. This is Caroline, from the Pleiadian fleet, stationary position above the northern quadrant of the Earth's crystalline grid. Transmission ended. The pulses continue. You are seen. You are loved. You have never been alone. Maintain the field. Sustain the frequency. The wave passes through you at this very instant. Allow it. Allow it. Allow it.